My name is Zegan Doyle, and I am the 2025 Project Involve Film Programming Fellow. I curated the shorts block, and I am here to invite you to stay for a Q&A with our amazing fellows, our amazing filmmakers. These filmmakers were supported through various artist development and labs, including the Screenwriting Lab, Fast Track, and Project Involve. Please join me in welcoming the fellows to the stage. Wow, thank you so much for joining us. It was a true pleasure to see all of these films on the big screen, so thank you. Thank you for creating this work. I would love to start out by asking if each of you could share your name, your film, your role on the film, and then if you could speak about what was most important to you in making this film, in making this project. Would you mind kicking us off?
Okay, yeah, I was trying so hard not to get the corner seat because that's always the first person to speak. I'm Omer. I directed the last film, Single Residence Occupancy. Thank you. And I did it. I do wish that Belinda, the writer, would also be here with me, but I know we could only. But she's here in the audience, so shout out to Belinda too, and the entire team. I think most important, so when Belinda first talked about the project, it was based on an article, and there was photos of families living in single residence occupancy apartments. And the photos were just so full of life, and it was so much detail and layers to them. And that was my goal as a director, was that we have the same experience that you feel in those photos. And I mean, we got so lucky with our cast. Kathy's here as well, who played Wei Ling. And yeah, she was so good. And you know, the challenge with with film independent is there's little time to prep. So we cast 4 days before the filming. And so they didn't have a lot of time to, marinate in these characters. And we had only one rehearsal, and it was, they didn't know each other. And luckily, we didn't do any script work. We just did improv, and one of the improvs we did was each of them drew a house that would be their dream house, with how they would want to live. And they just shared what they drew and why they drew, and I think they really connected through that, and that was kind of the starting point of creating this relationship, so yeah.
Wow, what a unique and inspiring process.
Hi, I'm Aaron Cantor. I made Interdimensional Pizza Portal. I was the writer, director, producer, editor, and compositor. And first of all, I want to say thank you so much for including my film in this lineup. It was so fun to get to see everyone's films. Like, honestly, they were all so wonderful. So I'm honored to be included amongst you. What was important to me in making this film, I kind of had three intentions going into the project. One was I wanted to see if I could tell a full story, like beginning, middle, and end in under 5 minutes. I have made a bunch of short films of varying lengths, and I really wanted to just like challenge myself to tell a tight story. A second intention was collaborating with Grover, who was my star, who's here, right over there. Grover and I had talked about making something together, so I kind of sat down with his voice in my head and was like, okay, what would Grover do in this completely insane situation? And then the third intention was, as is often with my movies, fostering community through production. So I make, most of the films I make are queer in spirit and often in subject, and I really love fostering queer production community, so I really intend to usually coalesce a predominantly queer cast and crew. I think it's a really interesting experiment. It results in really exciting energy on set, but then also everyone that then moves on to other projects has queer production contacts that they can bring onto other projects. So I love that. So those were my 3 intentions going into it.
That's so great. Thank you.
My name is Tiffany, and I was the director and animator on Beezing. Honestly, with this film, like, my main goal with it was to just, like, make it, because I feel like sometimes when you're, like, making a short film or, like, I don't know, any sort of artistic endeavor, you have these kind of, like, lofty ideas or, like, things you want to, like, really explore. And with this film, it was almost more like exercising a demon. Like, sometimes, like, you have to make something to really get out of your system, because, like, I think there's a version of this film that has been like festering in my mind since like 2020. I finally made it in 2023 because so I worked at Titmouse, this animation company, and they do this thing every year where it's called 5 Second Day, and it's like a company-wide holiday where you just take the day off and like make a film. And I saw that as an opportunity to just like really just get the tightest, like cleanest version of this out on paper and like out of my mind into the world onto your screens. Yeah, and I'm just like really glad that I was finally able to like bring it to fruition and tell the world about Beezing.
Hi everybody, my name is Vittoria Campaner. I am the cinematographer of Quaker, and thank you. I'm a project involved 2020 fellow cinematographer, and one of the challenges and goal for this film was, from the script level, it was going to be a portraiture film and a study on faces, and I think part of the goal and the challenge was how to maintain continuity, but also each portrait find kind of like a very subtle and unique way to interconnect all these people, but also kind of like subtly different among all of them. Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Helena Sardinha. I'm a producer of the film Before You. As a producer, one of my main goals in this film was to keep the story authentic, but also because we're talking about something so sensitive, you know, be careful about that, because normally the stories we see about abortion are about unwanted pregnancy. Here we have wanted pregnancy and abortion, and we didn't come across as anti-abortion. And that's when we brought on Planned Parenthood to collaborate with us. We actually wrote 15 versions of the log line until we set into something that didn't feel anti-abortion. This is a personal story of the director. It happened to her and her husband. And, you know, for me, I just wanted to be authentic to that, but also careful, because it's such a timely subject matter, especially right now with, you know, this administration trying to defund Planned Parenthood and, you know, focus on that and the social impact that can come with this movie.
That compassion's deeply felt, so thank you.
Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm Winter Dunn. I'm the writer-director behind Play Hard. And thanks, y'all. Yay! This is such a fun room, and this is such an exciting screening, so thank you for being here. In terms of intention, I think coming out of the strike, and then right before that, having a pandemic where we're all so isolated, and I know during the strike, all of us were at home dreaming and wanting and thinking and working, but not working, and just sort of, I felt myself really in my head. And all of my friends, we were really in our heads. And it was like, we want to do this stuff, but is this the right thing to make? And is it the right way to do it? And just feeling really stuck by that. And so I was really inspired to sort of make a film for us, honestly. It's like, I want to dance, I want to make music, I want to play jazz, I want to explore what it means to be an artist, and not just in what we show, but in the quiet stuff, in the at-home stuff where you're not feeling your most confident, and you really don't know exactly what it is you're trying to do, but you can't not do it. And so in many ways, it was like a love letter to us, and it was also like, hey guys, get out of your head. You're missing a lot of life that's happening right in front of you. There's so much beauty happening right in front of you. Sometimes we gotta just look up and go play a little bit, work a little less, play a little more. And so that was the intention behind it.
We're so here for it.
Hi everyone, I am Fabiola Andrade and I was producer for Angels. One of the reasons why I found Angels such an important piece and why I thought it was so important for this film to come to fruition is because it really explores, and it does it through genre, which gives us some room. Does the end justify the means? And I think that question is as important as ever nowadays. And unfortunately, it had that latency too back then. And I think that this message is something that deserves to be explored over and over and over again because it's ever current. And I had the fortune of collaborating with an amazing director and cinematographer and producer. They're here today, Samantha Aldana, Nick Shamblet, and Valerie Steinberg. And it was really a dream to do so. And I want to say I'm so fortunate to be with all of you here and also in Francisco's milestone. So yeah, thank you.
We're lucky. We're all lucky. I wonder also if you could each speak to us about the challenges that you face. Omer, you mentioned having to cast you only had 4 days to cast. Was that your primary challenge, would you say?
Well, I had a personal challenge was I didn't speak Mandarin. I didn't speak the language at all, and I do like to do improv, so that made it even more challenging. But I mean, I had a really great team, and Winting, the cinematographer, sat down with me and taught me each line, so I would know how to say at least those lines in the script. And the other challenge was the tiny room. I mean, that was like a character. That's the title of the film, and we knew we actually wanted to film in a tiny space. But with that comes the challenge of the room starts directing the movie for you because you are limited in how to tell the story, and that's one of the reasons we chose to only reveal the wide shot at the very end and kind of use that limitation as part of the storytelling. So
It was really impactful. Aaron, would you mind talking about the challenges, if any, you faced on set?
Yeah, I think for me personally, the biggest challenge I faced was playing so many roles, wearing so many hats, and I really come from this guerrilla filmmaking background and mentality in which I wear a lot of hats by necessity. I rarely produce with the budget to bring a lot of people on. And so I just, and because I've played so many roles within production and post-production that I just usually by default step into all these roles. And as my projects grow in scale, I realize how limiting that becomes to actually be trying to fill all these roles. So on this project, I really learned hard the lesson of the shortcomings that you face when trying to wear all these hats. So we ran out of time every day. We didn't get the coverage I wanted, and that was because I was trying to be director and AD and production coordinator and producer. And I am going to be shooting a short film this fall, and I promise you I'm not gonna be doing that.
Lessons learned.
Yeah, really, really lesson learned hard.
Yeah, for me, I feel like the challenge was probably time. Like, as I mentioned, I didn't make this whole thing in a day, but a lot of it was like done in a day, and then I had to finish the rest of it in like 2 weeks, just after work and after hours, like whenever I could squeeze in. I like animate on Photoshop, and that's kind of unhinged, so that's like a challenge in itself. But I think what was nice about it was like it forced me to think very simply and like really think about like what is necessary to convey like an emotion, like how many lines do you really need to create this like image, and so trying to be really like efficient, minimal, a lot of like economy with the visual storytelling, I think was a nice like kind of challenge to look at. And I also wanted to give a shout out to my boyfriend Nathan Phillips in the audience, who he did the music for this. It's really helpful when you date a musician, and he did an amazing job of like pulling this together in just like a couple days. And yeah.
Yeah, so one of the main challenges, and director Giovanna, who's here in the audience of Quaker, applause to her. From the script level, you know, we need to understand how to shoot a room full of people in 3 days with so many speaking roles. And the challenge, and also part of it that was really well organized, is that we had to shoot each side of the room separately. So we shot one side of the room one day, another side of the room another day, another side of the room another day. And the third day, I think we did all of a sudden the whole room. Part of the challenging on the cinematography side, and also on an editing afterward side as well, is that I need to frame all these individuals, but I can't look everywhere because there's gonna be an entire side of the room completely empty. So it's like how to keep the shots interesting when like each room, like not the full room is full basically, but still sell it as a complete full room. So on a cinematography, that was a challenge potential.
Well, it looks totally seamless, so
Okay.
well done.
For us, so all the transitions you see, those are written with the script. And when I read it for the first time, I was like, oh, there's a million locations here. I don't know how I'm gonna make this happen. We ended up hiring an amazing production designer called Dennis Stone, and we ended up shooting everything on a studio. So everything you see was built. The elevator's built, all the rooms are built. The only thing that's not built is the car, clear, obviously. That's shot in another studio, like a volume studio. But I was like, we don't have money to be on a studio for a long time because we built 40 flats, over 40 flats. So I found a studio that was about to close. And I said, don't close. Can we stay open just for one more month? And they said yes. So we stayed there for a whole month. We took over the entire space. And at the time, so we built everything. Danny built everything practically on his own. He had people coming in and out, but he was there for the whole month. And then we moved the elevator to a garage to do the garage sequence. It's just a lot. And the baby room also is built inside of a garage. So everything you see was done practically. And we don't have any VFX in the piece. Everything is done.
There was no VFX
No
for the
VFX.
shots of the couch, or
No, nothing.
Wow.
The couch was built. It's like a hollow couch and 2 people pulling her on the other side. Great acting.
Whoa.
On top, yeah. But very difficult. I do not recommend.
Damn, that's impressive. I'm thinking about that. Like, wow. Yeah, this one was a hard one. I won't lie. This was a film that felt like it was like fighting us in the making of it. I have my 2 producers here, TJ and Shen, and also my DP, Mike, who I met in Project Evolve. We made our PI short together. And so if I didn't have a team that I knew really well, I don't know where we would have landed with this one. We had very limited time. I cast my lead. We got his paperwork the day before shooting, and we shook hands on set for the first time in that apartment. Yeah, so I wanted a musician. I wanted someone who played the instrument, but also was a beautiful actor. And so working with musicians, we had a lot of really big names kind of like floating, and then it would be like a week out, sorry, he booked this show in Korea, and he's like, gotta go. And you're like, okay. And thankfully, Daniel, who goes by D Smoke, he's a really dope rapper, musician based out of LA. Yeah, if you know, you know. His schedule shifted literally like 2 days out. And so we had a FaceTime call. I sent my costume designer to do a fitting, and it was like, go, go, go. And then my lead, Alexis, she's on Grey's Anatomy, and Ellen Pompeo was shooting a show, and their schedule shifted. So we actually shifted our entire shoot schedule like 3 days out, lost half the crew. It was very intense, as well as like making original music. I had never worked with a composer in this way, where we're making music before shooting, because we got to choreograph to that music, and then they need time to learn that music. And so that was interesting for me as a director, to really have to know the tone of so many things before I have imagery to support it, and even thinking about, okay, where are the beats and their looks in the music, in the timing of the edit, because that's what's gonna sit in the film. And so it was a lot. It was a push, but it was really exciting, and I'm really proud of where we landed and working with my team. But yeah, this one was hard. I won't lie. Yeah.
You seem like someone that works well under pressure.
She tries.
For us, there were a couple of fun, thrilling moments in pre-production. Was because Sam and the development process was in LA, here in LA. Back then, I was in New Orleans, and we eventually ended up shooting in Mississippi. So there was a little coordination there. Also, the prosthetics of the alien that you see, of the angel that you see, took a few hours. And shout out to Sam and to Jupiter, who made it possible, because that was like at least 7-8 hours of makeup each day. And also, we wanted to allocate every single cent toward the mise-en-scène, toward the frame. So if you, in my department, like if you check the production department, I'm the producer, and then you'll see no production coordinator, no PAs, no nothing. So yeah, but I think we, in the end, we were a bunch of filmmakers that kind of grew up as filmmakers together, and we got the chance to do a wonderful film, so we were very happy about it.
Wow, thank you. As Angela Lee said in the opening remarks, you persist. You persist. Thank you so much for sharing your films with us. I'd also like to give a big thank you to our screening committee, without whom this program would not happen. So big shout out, thank you to Irene Soriano, Imani Davis, Anna Souza, and Ash Hoyle. And thank you so much for joining us tonight and supporting independent film.